Welcome back to YouTube Chess Kids, and today Fun Master Mike is going to make you eat your vegetables. Just kidding, I'm going to make you eat something far worse. It is the fried liver, but I'm going to teach you the special move that nobody else has taught you about. It's the secret move that's even better than the regular fried liver. Now, if you play Bishop C4, you might already be familiar with what we're going for. If Black plays the two knights defense, which is not something I recommend, you know that Fun Master prefers Bishop C5. Now you can play Knight G5, and you have a double attack on Black's weak spot. Now, if Black finds the move D5, Black is doing okay so far. But when we take the pawn, Black is not supposed to take back. As I have covered in other YouTube videos, Black should probably move this knight to A5, although knight to D4 is also possible. And there's a super secret move D5, which is also playable, but a lot of people think, well, when somebody captures my piece, I need to capture back. That is not a good line of thinking here. If Black plays knight takes D5, the normal fried liver, the one that you have played before watching this video, is the fantastic sacrifice knight takes F7. But I'm also here to tell you, this is actually not that clear if white is better. Now, white often does pretty well, but Black can try to survive by taking, and when you play Queen F3 check to put PP on the PP, the king can go for a walk. And if you put more PP on the PP, Black can actually try to survive with a move like Knight B4, which guards the knight and threatens the fork. Now, it's extremely complicated, and chess players much stronger than me have analyzed this position for hours and days and weeks. But I'd rather have a move where I'm clearly winning and I don't have to rely on lots of analysis, because you know me, I'd rather be outside playing tennis, going snowboarding. So here is the fried liver crushing move. I do not want you taking on F7, at least not right away. What I want you doing is playing the move D4, which makes total sense because we're going to castle faster than Black's going to castle. And what do we do to uncastled kings? We open the center of the board. Now, Black should not take with the knight because now all the knights are lined up. And if you play a simple move like C3, either Black loses this knight or Black moves the knight, and then you have a double attack on this knight. What happens, though, if Black takes the pawn? Well, now we have the open e-file. I still want you to delay the capture on F7 for one more move. I want you to castle. And now comes the big idea. If Black does not take care, or frankly, even if he does take care, we are almost certainly going to sacrifice our knight now. And the idea is when the king takes, and we give queen check, and the king takes a walk to guard the knight, the king will walk to an open e-file. The emperor has no clothes, as you might say. For example, if Black plays the totally logical move bishop e7 to double attack your knight, that does nothing to stop knight f7. And after king takes, now we recover our piece after queen check, and our attack on the light squares is going to be really strong. And if the king takes a little walk, it's going to get pretty bad pretty quick. We're going to play very logical chess. Rook e1 check. Now, if the king moves here, congratulations, Black. That's the worst move on the board. It's check and mate at the same time. Some would say that's the goal of chess. Okay, now Black could, of course, block, but it's only getting prettier. After bishop to f4, do you really think that Black can survive this position? I don't. If Black tries to guard the knight with this move, we can simply take. We're winning pretty much all the knights. And if Black goes, I don't know, the other way, then we get into some really pretty Picasso territory. Knight c3 is a very cool move, triple attacking. And if you take, there's going to be a deadly sacrifice coming up after takes. Rook check, and it is terrible for Black. Raise your hand if you want to play Black here. You better not have your hand up, chess kids. Okay, if we go back though, all the way to this position, hit the big rewind button, you might think, hey, Fun Master, what if Black actually guards the weak spot, doesn't play bishop, but plays a move like bishop here? Well, we open the e-file for a reason, kids. Rook to e1, you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to solve that mystery. Now the bishop is pinned, and if Black plays queen d7 to try to guard all of these light squares, you can play the fantastic knight f7 anyway. I told you it was coming. The bishop cannot take. If the queen takes, bishop takes knight, recovers the piece, and good luck trying to guard that bishop in the long run. Not going to be too easy. And if the king takes, then we play queen f3 check. And the problem for Black, if he walks back to the e-file to either of these squares, bishop takes knight, wins the piece back. And in fact, if the king walks to g8, thinking that the bishop's no longer pinned, Well then, we just eat the bishop, recovering our piece, and black is in a world of trouble. Because if the queen takes, bishop takes, wins the queen, the power of the light square domination. There you go, chess kids. I love sacrificing on f7 in the fried liver, but what I love more is delaying the gratification, playing pawn to d4, saving the sacrifice for when the e-file is open. If you play my one little extra trick, you are guaranteed to make your opponent eat some fried liver.